if you don't know who I am, I know some of you are new here, but my name is Justin Noe. I am a real estate professional. What does that mean? It means I like all things real estate. So if it's land deals, if it is buying something to fix it up, make it look pretty and resell it, I like to do that kind of thing. And I've been wanting to do a group for a while, and January we kicked it off, and we called it Relentless Growth for vast reasons, but specifically because we want to grow in all areas of our life. That's what I learned. You can't just grow in one, right? Because then you are going to fail in others. So you want to be, grow in your spirituality. You want to grow with your family. You want to grow with your community, grow in your business. And so when we set up this group, it is designed for real estate professionals and entrepreneurs. However, it's not really talking about a lot of those things, because we get up here and we talk about leadership. We talk about growth and how we can do that as individuals, how we can do that as a community, how we can do that as business owners. And that's what we want to promote here, is growth. So that way we can become better humans on this planet and do a lot of great things with that. And one of the gentlemen that I got a pleasure to meet recently in the last couple months, he joined a group that I'm a part of down in Tampa Bay, the Elite Investor Mindset Group. You guys, some of you were here in January and got to hear from James. He started that group. And Devin and I connected on Instagram. He followed me, I followed him back, looked into him and said, hey, we should set up a meeting. He drove all the way up here to Brooksville from Clearwater to meet with me over here at my office on Main Street. Probably thought it was only going to be like 30, 45 minutes. Ended up being like 3 hours. We drove all around Brooksville. We looked at this property. We looked at a property he was considering. We showed, we had our new construction project going on, and we just really hit it off. He's a very special human. Had a great connection with him there. And when I asked him if he would be able to do one of our events, he wasn't originally supposed to come in April. So I was going to step in and kind of talk about some stuff, but then his schedule opened up. We got super blessed, and he's going to get to come here tonight and share some of his experiences. If you read the flyer and some of the stuff that we put out, you will have noticed that Devin spent time as a leader throughout his life, all the way back when he was a child, growing up playing football, and then into college as a college athlete, football player. Got drafted into the NFL, and then had time on a couple different teams. Probably heard of one of them, Dallas Cowboys. Pretty big, America's team. I mean, not my team, but America's team. But that's okay. He did get an opportunity to catch a pass from the man, right? At one point in time, I asked that question. If you don't know who that is, that's Tom Brady. Come on. Yes, I know he played for New England, but he also was a Bucs, and that's where he ended, so that's what he'll always be. But seriously, Devin, we appreciate you coming up here tonight. Come on up, and love to hear more about it.
First off, just thank you to Justin. Just super grateful to be up here and have the opportunity to speak to you guys. Just very thankful for you guys as well, taking time away from your families and also coming up here, after work and spending some time and just, on that pursuit of growth, like Justin spoke about. So I guess, for me today, I'm going to kind of give a brief introduction about obviously who I am. I know Justin already kind of touched on that, but my main goal today is just to talk about elite leadership, right? And some of my experiences that I had, but it's really just for you guys to kind of get a lens into my life and what I've experienced and what growth really means to me and what elite leadership looks like from my lens and from my experience. Obviously, the big thing about like where I come from, it's a team sport, right? I've always come from that, even kind of growing up as well. My parents were a big proponent of that. So just with the kind of the title is, real estate is a team sport, and just how to lead like a pro. So who is Devin Street, right? Who am I? I was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, a small little steel town, very blue collar outside of Philadelphia. grew up in a diverse household. My mother is Sicilian and Hungarian, father's African American, and Bethlehem is a kind of a melting pot. It's in between New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia. So I grew up, just with a diverse background. My first word was ball, so that was kind of a foreshadowing moment into my future and what I kind of was going to get into. Three-sport athlete growing up, like Justin said. I was always known for having a passion, being a leader, and just a tremendous amount of drive. I was a very skinny, scrawny kid. I was athletically talented, but I was just one of those kids that I hit my growth spurt later in life, and I was just super scrappy as a young kid. Ended up getting a full ride to the University of Pittsburgh. I started as a true freshman. I became Pitt's all-time leading receiver, next to the great Larry Fitzgerald and Tyler Boyd as well. I think Tyler got me in touchdowns, and then I think Larry's got me in most catches in a game. But yeah, we kind of go back and forth because I still talk to those guys and keep up with them. Drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, played 4 years in the NFL, Cowboys, Colts, and the Patriots. Did get to catch some passes from Tom Brady, and I will kind of dive into that because I have some great stories about him and just the type of leader he was. But I did get released actually 6 weeks into the season before the Super Bowl, so I didn't get the ring, but it's a business. But yeah, I've always been known for being intentional, always in the pursuit of excellence. Outside of my career now and then my previous career, I enjoy golf a lot. So I know Southern Hills is not too far. So if there's any members out there, any members, let me know because I'd love to play it. Okay, perfect. I belong down to Innisbrook, so if you want to play Copperhead, let me know. I enjoy just simple living. Like Justin said, I love it up here. We live down in Clearwater. We just actually bought a house in Dunedin. But this is everything to me. I just love it up here. So simple things are everything. Love my beautiful wife back there and just hanging out with my 2 dogs as well. Some of the key points we're going to kind of talk about is obviously what is elite leadership. I think there's different types of leadership across the spectrum. But what is really elite leadership? The foundation of leadership, where does leadership really start? The biggest thing about leaders too, and leaders are servants, so we'll touch on that as well. Leaders set the standard. Elite leaders communicate clearly. I believe you can't be a leader if you can't communicate properly. Communication is everything, whether it's in business, with our teams, with our spouses. Communication is everything. Leaders develop others. That's a big thing. Everyone, not everyone, but there's a vast amount of people that believe that there's a leader and there's followers. But I believe that there's leaders and there's leaders. Elite leaders stay calm under pressure. The cost of a leadership, I do believe that there's a cost with everything in life, good, bad, or indifferent. If it's hard to make ends meet, there's a cost to that. And if you have $1 billion, there's a cost to that as well. And then we'll just close up with the final thought, and leadership is a choice, and we'll kind of talk about what that choice looks like if you're looking to make that choice, which I know a lot of you probably are, and a lot of you probably already made that choice. So my perspective on what elite leadership is, leadership starts with you, right? It really does, and it goes back to what Justin spoke about as well. It's that constant pursuit of growth, right? It's that wanting to be a leader. It's wanting to see others do well. It's wanting to influence. And I was trying to, come up with a definition. I really tried hard not to tap into the Chat GPT, but unfortunately, it did such a better job of giving me the definition. So, not smarter than AI, humble. But I think it's really profound, the definition that it kind of gave and spit out, because I think it encompasses everything what elite leadership is. Leadership is the ability to inspire trust, influence action, elevate others, and not through authority, but through example. Some of the best leaders I've been around haven't always been the most outspoken. but they've set the example, right? They've set the standard. It's the strength to stand firm in adversity, the humility to listen, and the courage to act with integrity, right? And the biggest thing to act with integrity is, what do you do when no one's watching, right? I think that's where elite leadership really starts. Everyone can do something in front of people and create the facade, create an act, say words, but it's really what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that even kind of goes back when we were talking, like at some of the past folks that came here too, about leading yourself first, right? And it goes into that. And like, so when you lead yourself effectively, you're going to be able to lead others effectively. So I think that that's, you know, it's AI generated, but like you said, AI like usually takes all the thoughts that you have and makes it sound smart.
100%, 100%.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, if you're not using it, I think you're left behind anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
you're left behind.
got to tap into it. And obviously, like we touched on too, true leaders create more leaders, not followers, and they have extreme ownership. And I want to kind of go into a story real quick about extreme ownership. At my time at Pittsburgh, it was kind of a roller coaster. We have 4 different head coaches, 4 different position coaches, and it was a whirlwind as a player, trying to develop trust and a relationship with all the coaches that I had. There was inner turmoil with the athletic director and coaches and things like that, and I really never had a true bond with a coach, besides the coach that recruited me, Dave Wanstead. He was a guy of standard. He was a guy that I truly believed in, and that's why I went to the University of Pittsburgh. But in my senior year, I actually had the opportunity to leave my junior year, enter the draft early. But I wanted to finish my degree because that's how I was raised. Grew up in a strict household, and school was always came first. So I wanted to get my degree, and then I was on the cusp of kind of breaking Larry's records. So I wanted to break those records too, because it's just it's goal setting, right? I set out for a goal to be elite, and that's what I wanted to do. But in my last year there, we had Coach Chris, who came down from Wisconsin, and he brought in wide receiver coach named Bobby Ingram. And Bobby, if you don't know Bobby Ingram, he played back in the day, Penn State great, PA great, and he played 14 years in the league, Pro Bowler, and just a heck of a human being. I mean, fully devout Christian. Okay, yeah, I keep going in and out. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So yeah, he was just words really can't explain that the pedigree of this man. And I got to really know him. They came in during the spring, and then we kind of merged into camp during the summer. You know, I was a senior, so a lot was expected of me. And I can remember we had a practice during camp. You know, camp is pretty strenuous. You know, we're in there 6:30 in the morning, usually until 8:30 at night, with workouts and everything like that. And we go out to practice. We're in the last session. It's kind of a competitive situation, offense versus defense, and it's a game-like situation. You know, long story short, quarterback ended up calling a play. I end up breaking the huddle. I'm exhausted. It's 95 degrees out. I end up making a simple error, running a wrong route. Quarterback throws it my way. DB picks it, takes it back to the house, wins the game-like situation. Practice is over. As soon as practice is about to be over, Coach Chris, our head coach, comes over and starts screaming at me, "Devin, you got to run the right route. You got to know your assignment, yada, yada, yada." And Bobby Ingram, the wide receiver coach at that time, steps in, puts his hand in between us, because obviously it got a little heated, right? I might be watering it down a little bit, but well, emotions run high in football. So he was really in my face and really getting after me. And I can remember Bobby coming in and putting his hand in between us and saying, no, that's on me, coach. That's not on him. And I was kind of taken aback by it, because that's never happened with the different coaches that I had, right? So I kind of just left it there. And after practice, I went in and I was watching film. It was just me. Coach Ingram was in there as well. He has kind of an office that's right next to the meeting room. And I was watching film. He kind of walks out and says, "Hey, Street, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just watching film, trying to get better." He says, "Okay." So we're both just sitting there. He's not saying a word. I'm not really saying a word. It's kind of this awkward tension because we just lost, obviously, in a game-like situation, and I messed up as well. And I just kind of looked over to him and I just said, why'd you do that? And he said, why'd you do what? Or, why did I do what? And I said, why'd you kind of say it was on you? I ran the wrong route. Obviously, that was my mistake. Why did you, take the fall for me? And he says, well, one thing that you're going to learn is that I'm responsible for this group. I'm responsible for the wide receivers in this room, right? And he said, it's my job to take ownership if you don't do something that you obviously weren't supposed to do, right? So it's just that extreme ownership that even if it's not on you, or if your team is not able to get to a certain goal, or someone messes up individually, I think elite leadership is someone who can take ownership of that and really be the leader in that situation, because he told me it from a standpoint of, yeah, you did mess up, yeah, you did have the mistake, but I should have prepared you better, right? I should have been the one there, making sure that you didn't make that mistake in that situation. So it was a big turning point for me, because he also said, you can either lead with me or follow, right? So that was another thing too, where now I'm the senior in the room, and now it's my time to obviously take that leadership role as well for the younger guys coming in. So that was a form of elite leadership for me, and to do that in the football environment, I don't know if you know how drastic that is, because the more mistakes that a select group makes, then that coach is on the chopping block, right? So that was a big thing for Bobby Ingram to do that, because it was unselfish. I've been around other coaches that didn't do that because they knew it would be their neck out on the line as well. So
yeah, that's really good. I think we talked about it before too. The book, did you get some of that from the book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willett?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you haven't read that one, highly recommend it. It talks about it, goes into extreme detail on extreme ownership and what it means in high stakes situations. So I could, just only imagine, being able to be extreme in your ownership is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when somebody on my team does something that's probably an error, it's my fault. I didn't train them right. I didn't do something, right? So that means I've got to accept responsibility, and then I got to take action to fix it. So, I love that extreme ownership thing.
Yeah,
So
100%, and it does. It's removing your ego. It's removing yourself, right? And it's hard, right? You're fighting biological tendencies. So. I guess, what I want to kind of go back into now too is the foundation of leadership. So where does leadership start? Obviously I said leadership starts with you, but really the biggest thing with leadership that I've found, and it goes back to that story that I just told, is trust is the currency of leadership. It really is. If you don't have trust from your teammates, from your team members, from individuals, you'll never be able to lead anyone, right? So always remember that. And I think that variable that builds trust is integrity, right? Integrity is everything. And if you don't have a set of core values, I have 3 to 6 sets of core values. I would say find that, stick with it, because that builds integrity. Write it down, always look at it. And integrity builds long-term loyalty as well. So trust and integrity build long-term loyalty. And with long-term loyalty, you can really achieve some great things and be that elite leader that you need to be. Another thing too that ties into the foundation of it is a vision, right? If you don't have a vision, you're never going to be able to lead anyone, because it's going to cause chaos. There's no direct path. There's no roadmap, right? So a vision is everything. Vision gives people purpose, right? It gives the individual people purpose. It gives your teammates purpose. It gives your employees, your partners, whatever it is. You have to have a vision. You have to be a visionary to be an elite leader. Create the roadmap and hold others accountable, right? It's one thing to have a vision. It's one thing to have a roadmap. But if you're not keeping your staff, your organization, your company accountable, you'll never get to that end goal, right? You'll never get to that end vision. So that's a big thing too, is holding those people accountable. And sometimes that's hard, right? Is holding those people accountable, because when you hold people accountable, you have to have sometimes those difficult conversations, right? So I know that's a hard thing, but you need to hold people accountable to reach the team goal and individual goals as well. Without trust, I mean, really, you're just a manager. You're not a leader. So you can manage, but you'll never truly lead. People won't look to you as a leader. They'll just look at you as a manager. I guess we could go to another thing that I wanted to talk about was self-awareness too, with the foundation, right? There's so many leaders, so-called leaders out there that aren't really self-aware of their true actions, right? And how it can really affect those people, right? And I think self-awareness comes from empathy, right? And emotional intelligence, There's plenty of people that are smart out there in real estate that can underwrite a deal to the T and do all these things and, have a portfolio of 100 million or whatever it is, but are they really a true leader, I think emotional intelligence is a big key in that and a big foundational piece because humans are emotion, right? And sometimes we don't want to talk about that